So, dear candidates, dear parents, grandparents, siblings, friends and family of the candidates, on behalf of Maastricht University, and specifically on behalf of the Faculty of Health, Medicine and Life Sciences, I would like to all welcome you here to this very special meeting of the Board of Examiners. So this meeting is very special because the only purpose of this meeting is to present our candidates with their certificates and celebrate and congratulate our new bachelors with their fantastic achievement. I would like to also welcome everybody who is not able to be present in person here, but will follow us in the live stream and online. My name is Tanya Adam, and I'm the Vice Chair of the Board of Examiners. Today, 65 students will be here present to graduate from the Bachelor of European Public Health. And before we start the ceremony, I would like to introduce and welcome a few people here to my right side. I would like to welcome Dr. Matt Commerce, who is the overall program director of the Bachelor Program European Health. And I would like to also welcome Professor Helmut Brandt, the Jean Monnet Professor of European Public Health and the Chair of the Department of International Health. And since this is a formal and official meeting of the Board of Examiners, I have to open it formally and official with the gavel. So I would first like to give the floor to Dr. Commerce, who will start this ceremony with a welcome note to all of you, and then we give the word to Professor Brandt, who would also like to give an address to our candidates.
Thank you very much, Tanya. Well, good afternoon. I would like to welcome you, our students and our graduates today, your parents, your family members, your friends, and also those at home to this graduation ceremony of the Bachelor of European Public Health at Maastricht University. It really, truly is a great day, I was thinking as I walked over here today, to finish a bachelor study in public health. And I mean that both literally and figuratively. It's a beautiful day. We're back here all together again this year after last year, in which the ceremony could not welcome any of the family or friends of the graduates. And so it's wonderful to see everyone here again this year to celebrate this graduation moment for our class of 2021. I'd like to thank Bernarda Mason for help in organizing this event and the support that she gave, as well as to the tech staff, and then also to Tanya Adam for chairing the meeting today. So I want to start with saying to our graduates, you are now well trained as public health professionals. You have received a solid and thorough basic training in the tools and toolkit of public health. You're also experts now in Europe and in its institutions, in its organs, and in its laws. And you are more needed than ever in that capacity. That expertise that you are bringing now out into the field to your master programs, ultimately into your careers, will be very, very needed as we go forward. I don't really even need to say much about coronavirus, but it is, of course, of such monumental importance and has had such a massive influence on the world over the past almost 2 years that I think it's worth pausing just to consider the impact that this has had and what that means as well for your calling in the field of public health. Something that is clearly and been demonstrably shown to be more important than ever. As well, we see that not only worldwide did the rates differ with coronavirus, but also here in Europe. The Economist has done fascinating but also devastating analyses of the differences in the peaks of coronavirus infections and deaths across the European Union. So we're still going to take a number of years to understand why these peaks, why these valleys, why did they come at these times, what measures worked and what measures did not work. And that will be part of the task for some of you. Climate and health, I think in no other area encompasses such a massive array of challenges as what we face with climate change and its implications for public health. Here we can see that climate change has risen on the European agenda, and I think that we're seeing it rising on the agenda of all nations across the world, as we also see its importance in the influence it's having in the environment and therefore in our chances for a healthy life. And yet it's not only challenges that are new, but also tools. We have new tools. We have biological and medical technologies. We have internet now, and also the personal delivery of information through our cell phones, which will get smaller and smaller, and we can imagine all kinds of different types of information delivery going forward at an individual level. We have artificial intelligence, which was growing exponentially in its ability to influence all areas of our lives. Robotics, space-based surveillance and research, geoengineering, and some of the ideas that are at work about possibly addressing climate change, etc. And yet, these tools, will they be for health? Part of your job is assuring that these tools going forward will be used for healthy purposes rather than the opposite. And so all must be informed, all of these technologies and all of the other ones that we can imagine must be informed by new norms. There's a challenge in developing new ethics. We will need to bring values, public health values that you've engaged so thoroughly over the past 3 years to these technologies to make them into human technologies. And finally, that implies that there are new opportunities at this time, very unique and powerful new opportunities for you to protect and promote health worldwide. And hence my claim that public health and a public health education is more important than ever. So, what will you do now? Well, graduation is both an end and a beginning. And to start way back with a very early European, Pliny the Elder said, "From the end springs new beginnings." And so today is an end for you, but it is also obviously a beginning and a new beginning. And what should you do now? Well, what I would like to do is share a couple of quotes with you, which I think help in explaining some of the things that are clear that you should and must do. First of all, from Mehmet Murat İldan, he said, "There is a hidden message in every waterfall. It says, if you're flexible, falling will not hurt you. So dream big and dare to fail." That's a key thing that you'll need to do is take risks. Dream big. Also, not necessarily a pro-EU voice here, but Margaret Thatcher, I think, did write something that's of unique importance to Europe at this time. Constitutions have to be written on hearts, not just on paper. So you will need to build legitimacy with real debate, because people need to have a heart and feel a vested interest in the project of Europe and the institutions and in the projects that we are carrying forward in public health in order to give them real strength and real support. And I think that is also something that is needed more than ever. Goethe said, "Daring ideas are like chessmen moving forward. They may be beaten, but they may start a winning game." So initiate and create, because you don't know, as you start to initiate, whether it be businesses, projects, initiatives within regional, state or national governments, or at EU level, these initiatives take on their own life. And I think that the importance of creating and bringing new energy to these projects is very, very significant, and this quote illustrates that. Find the gap. Tuli Madonsela, South African lawyer, wrote, "I need to listen well so that I can hear what is not said." This is part of your job, to hear what is not said, not only to hear what is said, but actually also to look deeper. So find the gaps as you go forward. Never stop discovering. Sharon Begley said, somewhere something incredible is waiting to be known. Now, many of you will enter certain aspects of research, whether you do that for organizations or in a formal scientific way. Keep searching out and keep discovering, because that new information is so incredibly important, and there is a heck of a lot of it to discover. Reinvent yourself once in a while. It's never too late to be what you might have been, said George Eliot, who was also, her real name was Marianne Evans. A very important aspect, I think, in a public health career, you're probably going to need to reinvent yourself a couple of times over the course of your career. Not only is that the case with all professions at this time, and increasingly so that people are taking on multiple careers, but in public health, maybe more so than other traditional areas, you'll find yourself working in very different sectors with very different people and involving parties across a broad range of disciplines. And finally, to end with Bruce Lee, who said, make at least one definitive move daily toward your goal. So take it step by step. And as you move forward, take one step at a time every day or every week or every month toward your goal, and that'll keep the ball rolling forward. So I wanted to turn from the quotes just to remind you that Maastricht University is behind you. This university has been ranked by the Times Higher Education ranking in the top universities in the world. We're typically very close to the top 100 in the world in terms of our education, and that is going to follow you as you enter your careers. The Bachelor of European Public Health and Maastricht University are known to the Directorates General at the European Union, in Brussels, and across Europe to organizations with a vested interest at European level. As you, I think, know, our program was reaccredited by the Dutch-Flemish Reaccreditation Organization in June of 2019, and we were given 5 goods. Now, this is the Dutch good, and that means very good. In American, actually, it means excellent. But this was a very, very positive sign for our program, and we continue to maintain a focus on quality and on state-of-the-art knowledge. So the Bachelor EPH is a secure and, in fact, improving qualification that will follow you through your career, and we are working hard to guarantee that that will follow you in a very positive way. It's also in front of you. Yeah, I'm sorry, but Maastricht University is everywhere. Our graduates have gone on to a vast array of master programs, as you also will. Also to employment in all of the different sectors, the private sector, business, in the nonprofit sector, in foundation work, and in large non-governmental organizations, and of course in the public sector, working with many different levels of government. So some have gone on to very prestigious destinations, such as the European Commission, PhD fellowships at distinguished universities, Fortune 500 corporations. We had 4 participate live recently in an event with our virtual excursion to Brussels with our first and second year cohorts. And we also had 5 or 6 other alumni participate by giving interviews for that event. And it was actually really exciting and almost awe-inspiring to see what some of your fellow graduates have already achieved, being 10 or 11 years into their careers. Alumni, and you are now alumni, or you will be actually after this afternoon, are critical to the success of our program, so I want to ask you, please do set up an account on LinkedIn. Consider making a presentation at your high school, or also participate in our alumni profiles for open days or alumni days. We would very, very much appreciate that and welcome you. So on the future of Europe, to close, Winston Churchill said, "We are asking the nations of Europe, between whom rivers of blood have flowed, to forget the feuds of 1,000 years." Angela Merkel said, "The euro is our common fate, and Europe is our common future." And Emmanuel Macron said, "We have a huge responsibility to make sure that Europe remains a prosperous and peaceful continent." So today, we congratulate you all and wish you well as you begin to engage this European project as well with your master programs and in your career going forward. Congratulations to you, congratulations to your families, and we look forward to giving you your diplomas and speeches today. Thank you.
With no further delay, we go on. So, welcome graduates, welcome sponsors, formerly known as parents, family and friends, colleagues, and hello world outside on TV screens, on public places, private internet distributions, or just your laptop. So, because the sponsors will not know what the students have learned here, I will start my 1.5 hour lecture now, presenting you at...
No, wait a minute, that's not the idea.
What?
It's not the idea that you're here to give another lecture. This is the graduation ceremony.
Okay.
Maybe you could just adjust a little bit.
Okay. Yeah, you know, whenever I see students and a lecture hall, you know, I always switch in this mode. Giving a lecture 1.5 hours doesn't matter what the topic is. I will. Okay. So what to do? Okay, you will throw your heads anyhow later. So I throw my manuscript. Don't applaud, it's always from your time. Yeah? Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we are back. We are back in person, we are back at this university, and we are back in life. And especially when you go to a restaurant this evening. Some people will say to you that you have lost valuable time in the pandemic as you did not learn much. The lost generation. But the opposite is true. This was not a simulation game. This was real world. This is not a computer game where you have your magic button, this Control-Alt-Delete, where you can start from new. Or you get even several lives that you can reset and start off new. No, this was real life and a real life experience. And this was a bridge of the theory and practice gap. And it has made you grow as a person, especially as some of you might have experienced some problems in your own family regarding COVID. You have personal experience and training in digitalization. You know the situation before, so you can compare. You can now make decisions under risk, meaning that not having all the information to make a choice, but now you can decide. You know that it's incomplete information. Should I stay in Maastricht? Should I get vaccinated? Shall we have a lockdown? And you learned that things change overnight. The speed at which things developed in the pandemic was enormous. You learned that winners can become losers and losers can winners in the end. Those countries which were good at the beginning of the pandemic often failed later and vice versa. Regarding countries, normally we have a Google team, no? So I expect you that you can throw me one word later when this is over, why this is here. Okay. And you know now what you can expect from institutions, what you can expect from a university, how it can adopt. You know now what you can expect from your government. Is it really able to protect you or not? So do you have to join the government to change this? You learned about the EU, failing forward as ever. You know now about international organizations too, like WHO. There's this saying, WHO is as good as the members allow it to be. And perhaps a lot of this myth that is the holy grail of wisdom is a little bit destroyed. So when you talk to people from this organization, that you know what really they can do and what they can't do. What to do when the storm is over? When the storm is over, remember the forced light-speed innovations that you have seen. Online learning and home office. That doesn't sound very attractive, but if you remember how it took me several years, frustrating to see how slow this process was, that we could have online lectures, inviting the best lecturers of the world not to come here because they would say, oh, 1 day of travel, 10 minutes of talk, 1 day traveling back, what is the use of it? Not to get them online. That was really because everyone was a little bit reluctant to this. So online learning will democratize learning too, and studying too. And home office gives you new possibilities. We saw new logistics for mail order services. How often have you ordered via Amazon because the shops were closed? And one interesting side effect is that a Finnish paper producer now stopped to provide paper to produce books. They go to produce packing for Amazon now. I think this story alone is worth a book. And just imagine what our librarian would say. And at the Frankfurt Book Fair, they said, we are running out of paper. We cannot produce any books anymore. So what a heaven for students not to read books anymore. The most important was the light-speed development of vaccines. It was a boring topic, vaccines, before the pandemic. Measles, pertussis, all this stuff. But now it was really challenging. And we saw that there were really groundbreaking new ideas. And the main lesson learned is it all can be done. And remember this. Don't believe anyone who says, it will not work. You can make it. And you learned that you cannot not decide. You have to do decisions. Keep the momentum to have a clear point of view. And don't be shy to reverse it if necessary when new evidence comes up. Take control. You had to be passive over the last time. Now get active again. And please take responsibility. Never again ask for an internet link when the one in the script does not work anymore. Find the actual one yourself and send it as a gratitude to your teachers. That would be something real. And please don't say, I'm confused. Maastricht graduates are not confused. Yeah, they might confused on a high level, but they know what to do. So please remember you're ambassadors of Maastricht University now. Most of you might go to other universities, and you are our reputation. So we try to train you that you can be a little bit arrogant coming from Maastricht. Okay, for your future now. Every 8 to 10 years there's a big thing happening. You heard this before, but you have to hear it again. BSE, SARS, HIV in blood and blood products, Chernobyl and Fukushima, the migration crisis, and yes, the pandemic. Not all of them are infectious disease outbreaks, and the next one that Matt already talked about, the climate change, will cover everything. In your working career, you will see 5 of these events. So be prepared. The story is not over. Looking back in literature reviews and so on, was just to help you to be prepared how to manage the next big thing. And always remember for your first job interview, being part of the Public Health Pandemic Cohort, PHPC, Public Health Pandemic Cohort, PHPC, gave you experience that no other students cohort ever had before. So it's a unique selling proposition, I think the economists would say. So in the end, we are back, alive and kicking and stronger as before. Thank you for your time. So what is the solution? Come on. The Kosovo. This is a monument in Pristina that they erected when they got independence again. And I think what is good for them is good for us in this situation. So congratulations again, and see you in Europe.
Thank you, Helmut. So we would now continue with the actual graduation, and since this is quite a procedure, I'm going to explain that briefly to you beforehand. So the graduation will take place in thesis groups, so organized in the thesis groups that you participated in. I will mention your thesis group supervisor, and I will call the candidates of the respective group to the front right here. So you can line up right here. And then the thesis group supervisor or respective designated person will address you or the group as a whole. That is their own decision. Then I will be here and call you over one by one and will present you with your certificate. Then you will receive a rose from Matt, I believe. And then you move on to have your photo taken, please. So after the ceremony, you will, if you want to have a photo with your mentor or supervisor, then there is the opportunity to do that after the ceremony during the reception. Yeah? So after you have your photo taken, you can go back to your seat, and I will call the next candidate from the thesis group over here. For the people who address the groups or the students, you could use this phone because I will be sitting here and call the groups down from here. Yeah? Okay, so then we'll start. Then we'll start with the first group, and that's the thesis group of Milena Pavlova. And they will be addressed by Rachel Elans, and the group is Patricia Brown, Simone Belmonte, and Eileen Ilinova.
Okay. Hi, ladies and gentlemen. Graduation is an extraordinary moment for every student. And I'm glad to have the opportunity to congratulate Patricia, Simona, and Eileen on this achievement on behalf of Milena Pavlova. Unfortunately, she couldn't do this in person, so therefore I'm taking over. She mentioned that it was an enormous pleasure to be working with you, as it's always with students from this bachelor program, she noted. But this year was special, since you could only meet online. Still, Milena noted that she observed that you developed and grew and that you overcame barriers both in your thesis projects and in your personal lives. So let me congratulate now each of you with a few words. So first of all, Patricia, you are bright and talented, Milena mentioned, and she was amazed by your skills to find miraculous solutions even in the most challenging times. The difficult circumstance in your life did not stop you from graduating on time with a high-quality thesis. Because of your thesis, we know now more about the prevention of postnatal depression in Europe. You urge policymakers to keep investing in preventive tools and screening methods in postnatal care. She hoped in your future work you could bring those messages closer to those who make the decisions. Yeah. Now, Simona. Dear Simona, you were the last student in Milena's group to select a thesis topic, but you were the first to submit a thesis. You studied leave policies for women with heavy menstrual conditions. Surprisingly, you found that such policies mostly discussed and applied outside Europe. Definitely a point to be considered for Europe's policy agendas. Milena, greatly appreciated your systematic and thorough approach to research, and this is also reflected in the good evaluation of your thesis. Milena is convinced that you that professional hurdles for others will be just a tiny step for you in your future career. All right, then the last but not least. Dear Elena, you have shown a profound way of working and doing research. You took the challenge to study the use of telehealth for providing maternal care during COVID-19 pandemic. And as you conclude in your thesis, telehealth will certainly be deeply embedded throughout obstetric care, even after the pandemic has passed. And the topic was rather unknown for you, and there were many uncertainties, but you went through it, nevertheless, with optimism and enthusiasm. These are two important traits in professional life, and they will certainly enable your future successes. She has no doubt about that, she mentions. So, dear Patricia, Simone, and Aileen, Milena wishes you lots of good luck with your studies and later with your professional lives. And she truly hopes that your paths will cross again in the future. And her regards also go to your families and your friends. And she mentions also to enjoy the celebration and make the best of your bachelor's degree. Congratulations.
So first I would like to call Patricia. Over here you can walk in front of the... Then I would like to call Simona. And next will be Eileen. So next I would like to call the thesis group of Elena Ambrosino, and they will be addressed by Pierre Thomas. And the group is Mary Elena Haibaran, Yasmila Vidal, Alessandra Oldani, and Paula Dornbusch.
So I will read a few words on behalf of Elena. I am very happy that this moment has arrived. Unfortunately, I could not be here, but you are, and you can finally celebrate this special event. I personally enjoyed very much working with you all, and I would like to congratulate you all on your work and contribution to the group effort. Mary, you worked on the use and impact of laws and policy around sensitive medical data on medical innovations. What a challenge even defining the objectives for your research. Your work at the European Commission was relevant, innovative, and complex. You had to get out of your comfort zone and deal with difficult terminologies and concepts. At times, you struggled to proceed, but you managed to successfully produce comprehensive work. You should be proud of what you have done. Paula, your focus was on assessing the risk and prospect of inclusion in the EU legislation of point-of-care processing techniques in the transplant and transfusion sector. You worked at the European Commission as well and managed to approach even more complex subjects in a clear manner, developing them into comprehensive output. Your work was consistently excellent, and you steadily aimed for perfection. I wish you many more accomplishments in the future. Yasmila, your thesis was on the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic on antenatal care practices in the Netherlands, focusing particularly on midwives. Your work was relevant and timely. You took the initiative and quickly recruited patients needed for the study. You got out of your comfort zone, rapidly adapted to the qualitative research aspects of this work, and developed the skills needed for it. I am confident your proactive attitude will contribute to more successes in the future. Alessandra, you studied the challenges and need of expectant mothers in prisons across European countries. What a relevant and interesting work you have produced. You thoughtfully selected your focus based on personal experiences among women in prison. Your dedication to this topic and compassion for the subjects of your study contribute to make your thesis a thoughtful and inclusive work. Never stop having the same dedication in your future work.
Thank you, Pierre. So first I would like to call Miri. Then Jasmila. Alessandra. And Paula. So next is the thesis group of David Townend. They will also be addressed by David Townend. And this is Chiara Cerullo, Fiona Morena Romero, Lars Hulshoff, and Anne Rigaud.
Hello again. Well, or for the first time. It's first time. Yes, it's usually we just see you on a telly. First, I want to commend all four of you as a group. Your thesis placements were in virtual Maastricht, in the Health Law and Governance group. You joined in with our thesis group discussions and with the whole group support really well, because last year we needed a different sort of support. I was so very impressed with all of you and the master students in the group for the way that you supported each other and the way that you included me in that support. I will always remember that care and that kindness. Thank you. Chiara, you wrote a first-class piece on EU citizens' perspectives on public health measures in the current pandemic and how those views might be heard. It was a timely study, and it will contribute to the field really well. You studied systematically and brought a calmness and realism to the work. I was delighted that you produced the work with such attention to detail and in such a timely and efficient manner. As a stranger to efficiency, I found that extremely impressive. It was a great pleasure to work with you and to hear of your continued success and enthusiasm. Fiona, I was particularly excited about the topic of your work, the use of AI, artificial intelligence, and particularly machine translation in cross-border patient care. I can tell everyone in the room is really excited about. I was really excited about it. It's a fantastic area. It was also so timely and so interesting for the future of cross-border healthcare. Again, it's a great contribution to the field. You are also a systematic and efficient scholar. You covered a lot of new, interesting ground, a lot of difficult legal ideas that you hadn't dealt with before. And you did so with enthusiasm and thoroughness and thoughtfulness. It was a great pleasure to work with you, and I look forward to hearing more about your future work. Lars. Another interesting take on the pandemic issues, a cross-national analysis of the intensity of COVID-19 measures and its effect on prevalence and incidence in the first wave of COVID-19 in Spain, Sweden, and the Netherlands. It's an enormous topic to take. And your work was really interesting, and you found interesting material and made useful comparisons between the different countries. I very much enjoyed your approach to the work, sensible, inquisitive, and with lots of fun. Our conversations were animated and enthusiastic, and you took on board constructive criticism really positively. So thank you. Anne, you also produced a really interesting work on healthcare during the pandemic. Again, a comparative study of depth and value. Your work was in the important area of adapted, delayed, and avoided care during the pandemic in Europe, looking at the causes and the consequences. This remains a timely and difficult area. I very much liked your approach to your work. Interested, interesting, enthusiastic. As with so many, you were working alongside the thesis, and I very much enjoyed our discussions about the progress of the vaccination process in Maastricht. It was really practical reality of public health in the very difficult times. Well done to each of you. Your work is of a high standard, high enough to be moving to the next stage in looking at trying to publish it in medicine and law. And working with you was great fun in difficult times. Congratulations to each of you and to your families and other supporters. Your success is very richly deserved.
Thanks, David. So then I would like to call Chiara. Then Fiona. Lars. And Anne. Next, I would like to call the thesis group of Angela Brandt, and they will be addressed by Helmut Brandt. That's Katharina Schröter, Mary Connor, Rosa Rantanen, and Clara van Landwust.
Dear candidates, so this is how you look in reality. That's interesting, because we only had these small little windows. And greetings from Angela. She is not virtual. She is really existing, but cannot be with us. And you know, for this reason, that if someone has a problem to attend, we always were, as a couple, there to guide you through the process. So I was sometimes the bad guy in the background, having some nasty comments and so on. So I hope you forgive me for this. And of course, as a good husband, I have to read out exactly the text that Angela's gave me, but of course I will do some alterations, if you allow me. It seems that this year we have several best of thesis topics. Two of these hot topics are the microbiome, that's the microbe that you have in your gut, and COVID-19, of course, that we know. Here are the specific thesis topics of Katharina, Mary, Rosa, and Clara. For those who have not realized it, Katharina worked on the human microbiome, its relationship with obesity, important topic, and fecal microbiome transplantation as an intervention to tackle obesity. Mary Connor worked on microenvironments as a potential risk factor, an investigation of the interrelationship of the gut microbiome, viruses, and intestinal diseases. Rosa Rantanen was from the COVID group, COVID-19 tracing apps, a systematic literature review of potential regulatory gaps and barriers to data privacy and data protection in Finland. And last but not least, Clara van Landwust, user acceptability of COVID-19 contact tracing apps in Germany, Austria, and Switzerland. So you have all your tracing app. Now we can check if this is real. Dear Katharina and dear Mary, we start with you so that the others can check their apps. In 2012, the cover of The Economist stated, "Microbes make it man." This was already almost 10 years ago. Today, we are still only at the beginning to understand the important role of the microbiome in the development of diseases. The topic is complex, exclamation mark. But with your thesis, you contributed to closing this knowledge gap by providing new insights into the topic related to the treatment of obesity, dear Katharina, and to potential risk factors of intestinal diseases, dear Mary. So, well done. Dear Rosa and dear Clara, for the last 2 years, COVID-19 tracing apps had to be developed. You picked this momentum and carefully analyzed specific aspects of it in selected countries. You studied regulatory barriers and gaps in Finland, dear Rosa, and you studied the user acceptability in the German-speaking countries, dear Clara. Now the COVID-19 tracing apps are everywhere around us, incorporating your ideas, and I guess everyone is using them now. Dear Katharina, dear Mary, dear Rosa, dear Clara, please go on. Be critical. Just ask the questions coming into your mind. And even if they're a little bit disruptive, just do so. Ask the right questions, and nature will open the doors to her secrets. The world, the society, needs young innovators like you. And there, Angela is really right to get on these hot topics. No one knew at that time how those tracing apps will really work, what will they do, and the microbiome is still a mystery. From my heart, I wish you not only all the best for your professional careers, but also for your private lives. It was and will be a pleasure to be your mentor on your journeys. The future is certainly yours. Whatever you will be in this challenging global world, whether in the heart of Europe or in the Arctic, sail on, Silver Girls. Thank you.
So I would like to call Katharina. Rosa. And Clara. Next will be the thesis group of Inge Haukes, and that is Sam Clemens. And some will be addressed by Matt Commerce.
Hello, Sam. You're all alone. You're all alone, huh? Inge Haukes could not be here today, so she asked me to read her speech for you today. Dear Sam, unfortunately I cannot attend your graduation due to an unexpected health situation. I really would have liked to address and to meet you in person, now that it is possible again. It's been a great pleasure for me to collaborate with you during your thesis period, even though we only met on Zoom. You were always well prepared for meetings, and you are an autonomous, flexible, and well-organized student who is able to take initiative. The COVID-19 pandemic has not completely faded yet. Never before have this many people worked from home for so many hours, and the impact of this policy on employee health and sustainable employability is largely unknown. You studied the impact of this work-from-home policy on employee health and sustainable employability. Employers and employees report varied experiences, but the importance of adequate adaptive strategies and support measures from employers became very clear during your study. These insights will also have consequences for future work arrangements and leadership styles. I would like to give you my sincere compliments for your hard work and congratulate you with your bachelor diploma. I wish you the best of luck in the continuation of your studies and your future career. For now, I wish you a great day, and I hope you will celebrate this milestone in your life with your family and friends. Sending you many kind regards from Sittard, Inge Haukes.
So Matt can be staying at the podium. So this will be the next thesis group. It will be Anne Reinders, H. Dodagi, Clementine Winken, and Gael van der Stichelen.
Well, how nice to see the four of you also in person and on your graduation day. Anna, you addressed the compelling question of how rules, regulations, and other interventions that were implemented due to COVID-19 did affect or could affect our approach to influenza, the flu. I was immediately impressed by this insightful research question which you yourself created, and it resulted in some truly fascinating findings in your thesis. Namely, going forward, we will not only contend with coronavirus, but also with perennial infections such as influenza. You concluded that, among the top 10 strategies employed to combat the coronavirus pandemic, working from home and shielding vulnerable populations were the interventions that best found the sweet spot. These strategies optimize the balance between effectiveness in prevention and sustainability in implementation. Along the way, you analyzed well the incidence of influenza during the winter of 2020 and 2021 in Europe. Astonishingly, there were virtually no confirmed cases of influenza last winter in all of Europe, partly due to less testing, no doubt, but largely a true reduction due to social distancing for COVID. You worked consistently and professionally throughout the thesis process. I congratulate you on writing a successful and creative thesis, and I wish you all the best. Etche, you investigated the legal obligations of Turkey and Greece regarding the provision of healthcare services to forced migrants. You then analyzed to what extent each country is living up to those obligations. There were moments early on in the thesis process during which I saw you struggling to focus and narrow your project. However, once you did settle into a focus, your progress was rapid and of very high quality. A significant conclusion of your thesis is that a unified approach within the EU to caring for refugees could result in far less costly detention and processing, and simultaneously benefit forced migrants' health. However, your thesis is far more than this one well-justified conclusion. You chose and explicated your theoretical framework very well. You wrote an exemplary methods section and integrated your findings with the literature well in your discussion. I compliment you on your achievement, and I wish you all the best. Clementine. Clementine, you looked into the implications of global health challenges to come through 2030 for prioritization within the arena of humanitarian health. It required a great deal of background reading and intellectual work to organize and clarify this topic. In my feedback with your grade, I called your thesis a tour de force, and I think that that term does apply. Page after page of detailed analysis characterizes your thesis. This is so much the case that it is actually difficult to summarize your work here, though it may suffice to say that you showed that and how global trends demand careful planning at European level to assure our ability to react successfully in humanitarian crises. Your thesis was truly an example of Global Health Europe, or the intersection between the European health agenda and the global health arena. You have a rigorous work ethic and can handle substantial amounts of detailed information, a powerful double whammy that will hold you in good stead throughout your career. I congratulate you on achieving success with your thesis, and I wish you the best in the future. Gael. Gael, you assessed the influence of climate change on disaster preparedness in Europe. The climate is changing, and this affects weather systems, water supply, too much and too little, and a range of other factors relevant to disaster preparedness. A very interesting aspect of your thesis is that you found that a range of frameworks have been developed and are in use around disaster preparedness in Europe. RESC-EU, SENDE, Deep ECHO or Deep ECHO, the European Consensus, etc. This type of work is more relevant than ever. As we have just seen this summer here in this region, or this week in southern Italy, Europe is increasingly subject to flooding, driven at least partially by changes in the climate, not to mention the opposite, drought or heat waves, dangerous winds, and the rise of previously unknown infectious diseases in Europe, such as dengue fever. You handled this topic with insight and commitment, Gael. You did a good job, and I commend you in your achievement. If I may, I would just like to say a very, very short note to Michelle Feke, who is here today. You'll be talked to in just a moment because Eva Pilot wrote your thesis, your speech. But Eva became your thesis advisor, and her speech will be read. However, as your initial thesis advisor, I would just like to say that it's good to see you here today, as you had to persevere through a difficult period to complete your degree. I'm glad for you, and I commend you that you did persevere. I wish you all the best, Michelle.
Anne. Ece. Clementine. And Gael. Next will be the group of Kasia Shabanowska, and she will address Julia Cesar.
Hello, Julia. I had only one student, but Julia made sure that this is a very rich and fulfilling academic experience to work on her thesis, which was entitled COVID Vaccine Hesitancy, which was also based on systematic literature review and content analysis of social media postings, both in the United Kingdom and in Italy. She proved to be a very systematic researcher, and I'm proud of your achievement. She was very professional throughout the whole period, keeping time and arranging the meetings with me, and not only, because she also had a very good placement at the Association of the Schools of Public Health in European region, where she actually led the task force on vaccines. And she was able to produce a paper which was published in BMJ. So I think there are a lot. So I think it was really great to work with you, and our journey is not finished. There is a lot of material in the thesis that Julia is now translating into 2 scientific papers. So congratulations, and it is fantastic to meet you in person.
Julia, congratulations. Next will be the thesis group of Timo Clemens. Timo will address the students. That will be Jan Philipp Goetz and Sebastian Wilke.
Welcome back. So, as I would say as well, good to see you. And Philip, we have met already, but Sebastian, we haven't seen each other. I fully recognize if you indicate a Zoom screen with a certain setup in an office, I would immediately could say which is the office of Jan Philipp and which is the office of Sebastian. If I would met them in the street, I'm unsure if I would have recognized them. But let me address your work. First, Jan Philipp. You looked into managed entry agreements and their application in providing access to orphan drugs in European member states. Managed entry agreements are certain types of agreements that pharmaceutical companies agree on with governments in order to accelerate the market access. You could show that MEAs, as we called them, are able to provide accelerate access to pharmaceuticals for patients. Nevertheless, as you discerned financial-based MEAs that were somewhat hindered by price confidentialities and difference in negotiation powers across the EU, and outcome-based MEAs that are mainly hindered by the lack of automated system to collect relevant data. So good that they are there, but there are some things that could certainly be improved. You took a very rigorous approach in identifying literature, selection of documents. I think your thesis was very strongly organized and your analysis likewise. You were always calm, well-prepared and organized behind your desk, which I really appreciated. I felt the pharmaceutical sector somewhat has caught your interest, I guess, as we discussed before. However, your bachelor thesis demonstrates that you have great potential to pursue a career in research as well. So I encourage you to keep that option for a moment as well. Very well done. Good luck with all your new endeavors, Jan Philipp. Sebastian, you were looking at building back better, a comparative investigation on health system resilience in Germany and Italy during COVID-19. In essence, what should governments do and learn out of the crisis in order to strengthen and improve our health systems post-crisis? You could show that both countries had taken somewhat different priorities in their responses to build back better. Nevertheless, your recommendations rather were applicable to both countries as you were advising for multi-purpose actions at the same time. I think the key assets of your work were the combination of different data sources. I think you took quite an effort to collect data that, as Professor Brandt has said, it's not ready-made. Huh? You need to find something on the spots. I thought it was very interesting what you drawed on. You took a comparative perspective, very good tables and figures. I love tables and figures. If you want some support, ask Sebastian. I really like them in order to complement the textual information and your findings. Well done and congratulations with your achievements.
Jan Philipp. Sebastian. Next will be the group of Rok Hurcic, Dimitri Ehrens, Pascal Hübchen, Susanna Hellerova, Johanna Elbel, Joelle de Ruiter, Milika Kelkar, Tom Roda en Maren Heidek. And Rok will address the group.
Maybe step a little forward so everyone has enough space. Very good. Hello, everyone. Very nice to see you. I'll first address the group as a whole, and then for the benefit of the audience, I'll go one by one, maybe explain a little bit what you've done and what you've accomplished. Hope that's okay with everyone. Sounds good? Right. So I'd like to say that working with this really talented and really motivated group, felt like I was managing my own team at DG Santé or a consultancy or a Ministry of Health. You are an amazing team to work with. I think you manage to support each other really, really well. And I would like you to remember that your perseverance, creativity, and knowledge are all undeniable. So please keep this in mind with whatever you do next. Please remember your value. Dimitri. Dimitri wrote his thesis on the architecture of the European Union's pandemic preparedness and response policy. In his thesis, he reports on a policy review and analysis with which he examined the role of EU institutions in pandemic preparedness and response. And his work was done under the auspices of the Standing Committee of European Doctors, CPME in French, a key public health NGO in Brussels, in which Dimitri seems to feel right at home. I think the Brussels bubble is doing you well. The topic was very timely, the work excellent. So the only thing I can do at this point is wish you good luck, Dimitri, as you work to disseminate the results of this study more broadly. Congratulations on your graduation. Pascal, where are you? There. Pascal wrote her thesis on the pharmaceutical industry lobbying and its influence on European Union decision-making. So pretty bold. In her thesis, Pascal highlights the power of the pharmaceutical lobby in shaping European Union health policy and closely examined some of the tactics they use to achieve these aims. Her work identifies the need for further efforts to increase transparency in policy advocacy at the EU level. This is critical if the trust between European citizens and their representatives is to be rebuilt. Pascal, it was a pleasure to work with you, and I congratulate you on your graduation. Susanna, don't be so nervous. I'm the one giving the speech. Susanna wrote her thesis on the institutional network governing vaccination policies in the European Union. Her thesis examined the institutions and other actors and their relationships and how they make up the network that shapes the way vaccines are used in the European Union. A super timely topic, very important work, and done extremely well. Susanna warns that the focus on vaccination policy must outlive the current pandemic, so we need to learn some of the lessons, and recommends that the stakeholders do more to coordinate their activities and increase transparency of decision-making to battle the rising tide of vaccine hesitancy. Susanna, your work was really, really excellent and clearly signals that you have a very bright future ahead. Congratulations. Johanna. Johanna wrote a thesis with the title, A European Union Corporate Due Diligence Act for Whom? Considerations about the impact of a European Union Due Diligence Act on artisanal and small-scale cobalt miners in the Democratic Republic of Congo. Really stretching the concept of European public health here, but I think it's important for us to remember that what we do in Europe has global consequences as well, and your thesis really shows this. Your work examined stakeholder views on the recent EC proposals for a Corporate Due Diligence Act, focusing in particular on whether the act would improve the lives and health of those at the very start of the cobalt supply chain. You found that while the proposals would have a positive impact on human rights and environmental protections outside the EU, the effect on individuals should not and cannot be taken for granted. Instead, the cobalt miners should be included in shaping the policy if we aim to achieve positive health impacts. Johanna, I congratulate you on an outstanding thesis, and I hope to see it in print very soon. Joella. Joella's thesis conclusions are right there in the title of the thesis. European legislation creates a smokescreen for continuing the use of asbestos-contaminated talc. Another very topical, very bold thesis and piece of work. She examined the European legislation concerning the consumer safety of asbestos-contaminated talc, with special attention to asbestos-contaminated baby powder. Her work, as I've said, is extremely timely and responds directly to recent reports of asbestos-contaminated cosmetic products being sold right here in the Netherlands. By taking a closer look at the EU consumer protection regulatory framework, Joella identified the different ways in which it was designed to prioritize not consumer safety, but rather the bottom line of powerful multinationals. Joella, I would like to congratulate you on your great work and for your graduation. Michika, you performed a social network analysis of COVID-19 vaccine development and procurement stakeholder ecosystem in the European region. Quite a mouthful. Your thesis was written under the auspices of the CEPI, Coalition for Epidemic Preparedness Innovations, which is, for the benefit of you all, a foundation that helps finance independent research to develop vaccines against emerging infectious diseases, a very prestigious and important organization. Her study was extremely ambitious, as you can probably discern from the title itself, and combined interviews with cutting-edge network analysis to better understand the relationships that underlie international networks behind vaccine development. She found that while the structure of these networks leads to great efficiency, as we saw during COVID-19 vaccine development, they do not always prioritize transparency and democratic accountability, which are key facilitators of vaccine acceptance. Michika, your outstanding work speaks for itself. I congratulate you on your achievement and wish you success in the future. Tom wrote his thesis on long-term care reforms in the European Union. He reviewed how Germany, the Netherlands, and France are coping with the rising demands for the care of the elderly and sought to identify what they can learn from each other, a very key European health topic. Tom's study found that all three countries recently decentralized long-term care, and they all struggled to secure an adequate workforce in the sector. The key differences between the countries were in how long-term care was financed, which is where France and Germany could learn a lot from the Dutch example to achieve better results for lower costs. Tom, your work was extremely relevant, very important. You performed it at a very high level, and you were a pleasure to work with. I congratulate you on your achievement and your graduation today. Maren, you wrote a thesis with the title, An Appraisal of Factors Influencing the Success of Interventions and Programs Aimed at Increasing Cycling and Walking, the Potential of a Prospective Active Mobility Law in Germany for Health. You worked on your thesis under the auspices of the Public Health Institute of North Rhine-Westphalia. I hope they hire you after this. Maren examined that what the federal state can and should expect if they implement an active mobility law that encourages cycling. She identified lessons learned from other European countries and the broader research literature, and based on this, suggested very concrete improvements to the proposed law that would increase its positive impact. Maren, your work was extremely interesting, very practical, very useful. It can have an impact on everyday lives of people living just across the border, and it was very well done as well. So I congratulate you on your graduation today and your achievement.
I would like to call Dimitri. Pascal? Susanna? Johanna? Joella? Vika. Tom. In Maren. Next will be the group from Iris Freikin, and they will be addressed by Matt Commerce, Kelly Fryens, and Rivana Ekiotuonye.
Well, good afternoon. Iris could not be present today, so she asked me to address you today. Kelly, you analyzed political speeches and news media articles about COVID-19 in relation to migrants in Germany and the EU. You performed a critical discourse analysis on an actual sample of speeches and articles. You found that the mainstream media and center-left politicians attempted to counterbalance populist and ethno-nationalist messages suggesting that irregular migrants bring COVID-19 contagion risk to Europe. The mainstream media and center-left politicians tried to balance the narrative by referring to epidemiological data, to the dangers of discrimination, and suggesting that mental health of migrants makes migrants uniquely vulnerable to unjustified portrayals as agents of transmission. You note astutely that, though this balancing seems positive from a public health data perspective, it ignores the factors that force people into migration and the risks of migration in the first place. Your findings are unique and highly interesting. Both Iris and I wish you all the best. Rivana, you analyzed the perceived factors that impact a black person's experience of the Dutch mental health care system. You conducted 8 interviews with professionals as part of your research, which provides a strong empirical foundation for your analyses. You found that personal, clinical, and systemic factors create barriers to access to mental health care for persons of African descent who are insured within the Dutch healthcare system. You took on a challenging qualitative empirical study and contextualized the results well within a range of theories on racism and decolonization. It is clear from your thesis that you brought the results together into a coherent and strong whole. Your thesis is a unique and timely contribution. Both Iris and I wish you all the best.
Kelly. Rivana. Next will be the group from Milena Metenice, Hannah Funk, Christina Vesela, Sina Wabi, Alicia Mastilak, and Kochi Linson. They will be addressed by Rock Perchich.
Hello again. I'll just read Elena's speech word by word. So if I say I mean Elena. All right? All right. First of all, I would like to tell to everyone in the audience that I've had the pleasure to work with the best thesis group ever. I feel very confident in saying so, and I think that this group of 5 bright and talented women agree with me. I, as their thesis supervisor, so Elena as their thesis supervisor, loved and enjoyed every hour of our group and individual meetings throughout the semester. But besides that, I was enlightened seeing them meeting up weekly on their own initiative, where they were setting up their individual goals, but also helping each other make progress by giving feedback. This was a real team. As much as I want to go on addressing you as a group, I would also like to take a moment to say a few words to each and every one of you. And audience, you might think that I repeat myself of how great they are, but true, they really are fantastic. Alicia, you work an excellent thesis on access to adequate maternal care in Poland. Not only did you collect data through online survey and conduct, you are continuing the journey on this research topic by going a step further with an aim to publish your work in an international scientific journal. Fingers crossed for acceptance. I want to congratulate you today on receiving a bachelor's degree and wish you much success during your current master's studies. You are a talented woman, and I know that you will achieve much in your career. Christina, you did an excellent job on access to adequate maternal care in Slovakia. You also collected online survey data from mothers who recently gave birth in Slovakia and conducted interviews with healthcare providers and decision makers. Throughout the thesis period, you demonstrated how dedicated and passionate you are about the work you do. Next to the great academic skills you demonstrated, these are outstanding qualities that will help you reach for the stars. Congratulations today, and much success on your future career. Sina, from the first moment I met you in my tutorial group, so Elena's tutorial group, I was amazed how motivated, dedicated, and engaged you are. This turned out to be true not only during health systems module, but also throughout the thesis period. You wrote an absolutely fantastic thesis on strengthening the role of midwives in Germany, and next to that, you did your research at an internship in a consultancy firm. You were very dedicated, consistently worked towards your goals, and were really on top of all the planning that this entailed. I want to congratulate you today with your bachelor's degree, but also with starting an ambitious master's studies in France. Very nice. I wish you much success and know that you will achieve any goal that you set your sights upon. Hannah, I also want to congratulate you on writing an excellent thesis on maternal health care needs of refugee and asylum-seeking women in Europe, a health system response in Germany. You really did a lot of work with conducting a systematic literature review and then a narrative review in addition to that. But the most amazed I was to see how structured, organized, and independent you were in this process. If someone had it all planned out and running ahead of the schedule, it was you. Next to your thesis, you also managed to fit in an internship, and I also value that you were so passionate, willing to strive for the best outcome, and had an overall extremely positive attitude. Congratulations to you today, and much success with further steps. You will succeed. Go. You also have to know how excellent your thesis on eradicating female genital mutilation cutting in Europe turned out. From the very beginning of year 3, this topic was something that you were very interested in and cared about. I think that this contributed to the very, very good outcome in the end. I see how I work in or related to international setting on topics like this that you truly care about can bring you very, very far. And you should go for it because the dedication and passion are both there. Big congratulations to you today and much, much success in your future career steps. Sending you all very warm wishes from Latvia is Elena.
Hannah. Christina. Sina. Alicia. Next will be the group from David Shaw. They will be addressed by David Townend. It's Jule Roberts and Isabel Oosterink.
Hello, David sends his apologies from sunny Glasgow. Well, I'm sure it's very lovely there. It always is in Scotland. Right, Isabel, you chose a challenging and very contemporary topic and did a great job comparing the COVID rules and how they affected rates in Scotland, England, and the Netherlands. David says, I learned a lot from working with you, and it informed my own thinking on the pandemic, which was very helpful. Good luck for your future projects. And Jule, David says, it was great to work with someone who shares my interest in organ donation ethics. It was pretty ambitious to do an international interview study on experts on opt-in versus opt-out consent systems, but you got some really interesting results and analysed them well. He says, I hope you do more work in this fascinating area. So congratulations on this very special graduation day to both of you. And
Julia? Isabel? Next will be the group of Pierre Thomas, also addressed by Pierre Thomas, Tiziana Ballester, Raphael Schilling, Huda Abdelrahman, and Romana Hölschel.
All right, so as an EPH grad myself, it is always a particularly emotional moment to welcome some new members in this big family. And I gotta say that this year I am especially proud and especially happy because as the world grew further apart, we together as a group were able to grow closer. So I'm very happy to see you guys today, and you should be very proud of your achievements. Tiziana, you wrote your thesis at the crossroads of public health policy, tech, and law, and developed your own model and approach to wearable health devices. You always impressed me with your sharp analytical skills and your outside-the-box thinking, and I trust that you will be able to translate these abilities and stay curious in your next challenges. I wish you all the best. Raphael, you took it at heart to carve your own path forward during your thesis and placement period, creating your own opportunities and gathering your own experience. You managed the tour de force, writing a comprehensive analysis and comparison of drug resistance burden in Sweden and Greece while working full-time. I hope that you'll keep up the hard work, and I wish you all the best. Huda, your dedication and interest for development work led you to join forces with the German GIZ and contribute to the COVID response in different developing countries. In your thesis, you chose to take a bold approach to international and European aid while proposing a new philosophical lens to ongoing issues. I hope that you will be able to find new ways to make impact for those who need it most. I wish you all the best. Romana, while interning at the Rode Public Health Policy Group, you took it upon yourself to try and improve the access to orphan drugs through the Benelux project and widen its scope to the European level. Your experience as a triathlete came in handy as you drew upon your endurance to overcome every hurdle. I wish you all the best.
Tiziana. Raphael. Huda. Next will be the group of Rachel Elens, also addressed by Rachel, Mika Armstrong, Isabel van den Bosch, and Manon Klotz.
All right. Hey, ladies. Nice to see you again. It was an enormous pleasure working with you. I think it was very interesting to see how you developed and grew over time. Yes, many barriers and hurdles during the start of the period because of the hybrid means in which we were communicating, sometimes in the beginning on campus, but sometimes also through Zoom. So I hope the mix worked out in the end. Maybe I will start with Misha, to address the first part of my thesis group. Dear Misha, you are a quick learner. You have a wonderfully curious personality, and you are somewhat pig-headed, which is actually very useful for criticizing research papers, so I really appreciate that. Also, the difficult circumstances that you had in the beginning of the thesis period didn't stop you from graduating on time and with a high-quality thesis. It has even led you to pursue a Master in Health promotion and to be part of the BEP staff as a tutor in the third-year bachelor program Health Systems in Europe, and in the third-year bachelor module Health Policy. Your co-supervisor, Paul Lemmens, and I enjoyed our hours-long debates on medical cannabis policy in the UK that went on throughout the lunch breaks. Yeah. All right. Then the next one, Manon. You have shown a profound way of working and doing research. You took the challenge to conduct a meta-analysis and systematic literature review on the relationship between psychosocial health care and postmenopausal breast cancer risk. The topic was rather unknown for you, and there were many uncertainties, but you went through the project with optimism, enthusiasm, and curiosity. There are two important traits in professional life, and that is continuing step by step and never giving up. And you did it with this optimism and enthusiasm that was really remarkable. And you were never in doubt. You persevered through all the difficulties, all the methodological challenges we encountered during discussions also with Isabel. And I also found it very important that you were able to promote and advise others when there were questions. So you were also a very group-oriented and team-oriented attitude, which I really appreciated. And also the next milestone is in getting your work published and to read the results of your master program in epidemiology, which I was very happy that you became enthusiastic during this thesis project in my field of expertise. So it was wonderful as well. Dear Isabel, I greatly appreciate your systematic and thorough approach to your research project, but also your willingness to go into quantitative territories with your thesis as well. I really appreciated that you went through the difficult assignment of conducting a meta-analysis and systematic literature review on physical activity and the difficult topic of molecular breast cancer subtypes, which is quite novel. The topic was rather unknown to you, and I greatly appreciated your systematic approach and your methodological approach to and the challenges aligned with that. This is also reflected in a good evaluation of your thesis and a very comprehensive discussion section of your thesis. And I'm convinced the professional hurdles for others will be just a very tiny step for you in your future career in epidemiology as well. So thank you very much.
Mika. Isabel. Manon. So how are we going to do this?
I don't know, I didn't think it through.
Yeah. Should I give it to Matt for now, and then you take it in front of the Don't fall. Next will be the group from Remco van der Pas, addressed by David Townend. That will be Sophia Kreimel.
Remco sends his apologies. He's in Italy as we speak. So this is what he's written. Dear Sophia, unfortunately, I am not able to attend your graduation myself. I'd like to compliment you with the work and thesis on health workforce migration that you had to conduct in a personally challenging period. You managed to do this rather autonomously with dedication, enthusiasm, and a good result. Congratulations, your success is well deserved. All the best from Remco.
Congratulations. Next will be the group from Robin van Kessel, and addressed will be Lea Zimmermann and Thorsten Heideck.
Thorsten, Lea, welcome, and nice to see you in person for the first or the second time, I suppose. You both covered certain aspects of the COVID pandemic, but I don't think you could have chosen different topics even if you tried. Lea, you investigated the interaction between COPD and COVID at a biological, individual and population level. And Thorsten, you looked at how the guidance of the WHO and ECDC influenced policies for European member states in terms of their social and mental well-being. You both delivered incredible work, one in tandem with, oh God, help me out here, Ostermann in Germany, and the other with Public Health Wales. I wish you all the best in your future careers and in your masters in HPIM, and I look forward to seeing it progress further.
Lea. Congratulations. Thorsten. Now we'll have the group from Hilde Verbeek, and addressed by Katharina Rostaius will be Chris Wouters.
Yeah, dear Chris, Hilde is on vacation in France, so she actually is in a sunny place. So I had the honor to write your speech. I originally wanted to say how smooth your thesis on the wonderful topic of green care farms for people living with dementia went. But then I checked our WhatsApp again, and actually it wasn't all butterflies and flowers. For example, you managed to interview people in German, which you can be really proud of. And I have some favorite quotes from our WhatsApp chronicles. While writing down my results, I came to the conclusion that I am not sure how to write the results. And number 2, the minute I close my eyes, I see my laptop screen again. I think you can all relate. Hilde and I are even more proud of you that you mastered these obstacles and submitted such an outstanding thesis. We wish you only the best for your future, and who knows, maybe you choose to do it all over again and write another thesis with us one day. We, at least, would be very happy.
Chris.
Oder Glückwunsch. Since your German is so good now. Next is the thesis group from Helmut Brandt, and address will be Ruben Janssen, Takumi Wegels, and Valerie Balver.
Yes, that's there. The interesting thing is when you have them online, in the beginning, those Zoom things and what Microsoft Teams and so, they could not change the background. So we were guests in your house and you were guests in our house. And I hope you excuse the mess that you saw there. It's a creative disaster, what we always have. Let's start with Ruben. Yeah. It's always good to say who is who here. Comparing outbreak control management on European level between progressive and conservative countries was a topic close to your heart. I will not ask who is progressive and conservative here. No? No? Okay. You have been the policy analyst of the group, of the Thesis group. Very good. And in the beginning, I wondered, well, what will be the results? But in the end, you challenged our beliefs about what progressive and what conservative really means. We had some discussions about this. And by the way, there seems to be a link. Very interesting things. And just ask him later at the reception, no? About this. And regarding your future, I guess you will be a very good policy analyst in an NGO. Perhaps you consider this after, whenever you will do your master. Takumi, today you are the white spot in the group of the dark-colored graduates. It was very interesting. All of you have the dark colors and you shine with your white shirt out of this. And you analyze the international health regulation issues by the World Health Organization and their usefulness you looked at. And yesterday at the World Health Summit in Berlin, they mentioned most of your arguments in a high-level podium discussion. Sadly, without quoting your work. So, of course, I complained at once and wrote a nasty mail to them. I guess we will see you as a special envoy of the Netherlands to WHO to negotiate a pandemic framework convention, because that would be the next step that came out of your thesis. And last not but least, Valerie, they gave me the listing here. So, COVID and BRICS was Valerie's topics. BRICS, not the stones, but BRICS, what is it? Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa. They started to have this kind of economic cooperation in the beginning, but then they began to cover other issues too. And you included, of course, two very important countries in your analysis, Russia and China. And when you all look at the news of the last weeks and the coming weeks, Russia and China, that are the big players we are interested in. Why do they do what they do, and on what kind of arguments do they base their decisions? And what was very interesting, you concluded BRICS is not an outdated concept, at least not good. So that was very convincing. So, and I see you as a specialist for public health in a foreign affairs institution. Perhaps that's something that might be close to your heart. Thanks again for all your work and choosing us difficult people as a supervisor. I hope you don't regret it. And please, from time to time, send a mail what happened to you in your life. And of course, be good ambassadors of Maastricht University.
Ruben. Ruby. Valerie. Next will be the group from Eva Pilot, and they will be addressed by David Townend. It will be Max Merten, Doreen Heck, Lea Nassenstein, Alete Peting de Volcrenat du Cognac, Joey Peters, Lara Lüdecke, Clara Schlösser, and Michelle Veke.
Hello, all of you. Hello, all of you. Eva is in Coimbra with the research there, and so sends her apologies, but has sent some nice words for me to read out. So here we go. Max, hello. Southeast Asia experiences the highest level of air pollution-related mortality in the world. I don't know why I'm telling you this, you wrote the book on it, so, but for our benefit, Thailand and Vietnam share many similarities regarding air pollution. Both countries experience adverse health effects, partly because of urbanization and industrialization, which lead to high air pollution concentrations at the urban and rural levels. Mitigation measures are needed to address the issue, and in your study, Max, you focused on public health and ambient air pollution in Thailand and Vietnam, comparing and contrasting mitigation strategies. You did your online research in collaboration with the School of Public Health in Rennes, in France. You collaborated closely with our colleague Bertrand in Rennes, with whom we, Eva and yourself and Bertrand, had plenty of online meetings to discuss the subject. It was a privilege to work with you, Max, during this thesis writing process. Well done. Doreen. Hello. Sorry. Yes. Doreen, you opted for an internal placement at Maastricht University on healthy students who use study drugs, despite their unclear benefits and consequences on those healthy individuals. This subject inspired you, and your research analysed students' perceptions of prevalence, benefits, patterns of use, and risks towards prescription stimulant drugs. Your thesis focused on perceptions towards the non-medical use of cognitive enhancing drugs on students in the Netherlands. Eva says she very much enjoyed your discussions around the topic and wishes you much success in your future endeavours. Well done, Doreen. Congratulations. Lea, you performed your placement within the International Knowledge and Information Centre on Public Safety, co-funded by Interreg and the region in our cross-border Meuse-Rhine region. That study is led by Maastricht University. Looking at the region's resilience to disasters, firefighters play a significant role in disaster situations. Your thesis on educating firefighters in that region posed the important questions: how does their training prepare them for environmental disasters? You looked at how far the firefighters' education prepares them to react adequately to potential disasters in the nuclear power plants in Belgium. It's not too frightening, is it? You collaborated closely with the project manager, Marie, and got the chance to visit several of the firefighters' stations in the region. Well done, Leah. Congratulations. Increasing numbers of migrants in the EU member state creates a need for health systems that facilitate access to healthcare for this population group. Additionally, the outbreak of COVID hit migrant populations with higher morbidity and mortality rates than national populations. Therefore, your study aimed to identify the policy shifts implemented to mitigate access to healthcare inequalities of migrant populations in the member states. Your thesis, entitled Mitigating Migrant Health Inequalities Exacerbated by the COVID-19 Pandemic in the EU, was very well received. Well done. Congratulations. Julie? Telemedicine in the emergency care setting is a promising innovation that can counteract demographic issues, shortages in healthcare professionals, and can improve patient clinical outcomes. Joe, your research aimed to conduct a comparative analysis of medical systems in the pre-hospital care setting within the EU member states. In addition, your work aimed to focus on the technology used, the clinical focus of these devices, and on the healthcare professionals involved and their education process. Your thesis, The Current Use of Telemedicine in the Emergency Care Setting in Europe, a scoping review that was very well received by our colleagues in Aachen and where you performed your placement. Your study contributes to the ongoing implementation of emergency telemedicine in the region. Great work, Joe. Congratulations. Laura. Hello. Hi. Transnational collaboration between fire brigades in your region of the Meuse-Rhine, where the Netherlands, Belgium and Germany meet, is essential during large-scale incidents such as nuclear disasters. They do not halt at borders. That's a shock to us all. Firefighters belong to the first responders during a nuclear incident, and when working transnationally, they're confronted with different systems and languages. Identifying challenges and risk perceptions among firefighters can help find the needs to improve transnational collaboration. Therefore, your aim in your study was to gain insights into the challenges of cross-border collaboration and the risk perception of firefighters. Your thesis was greatly appreciated by the Interreg project, where you performed your placement. Well done, Lara. Congratulations. Clara. Your thesis examined the impact of austerity measures implemented after the 2008 crisis on healthcare access across the EU and Iceland. In this context, you analysed whether, how and for whom the austerity measures affected access to healthcare. You aimed to provide a basis for evidence-based policy making in the situation of a possible next crisis. Your placement at Coimbra University was greatly challenged due to the limited online communication, but with interaction with researchers in the field, we overcame some of the challenges, and you managed to perform very well despite all the obstacles. Eva says, great work. Clara, congratulations. Michelle. Climate change is happening, and its anthropogenic drivers have determinal effects on the ecosystem and human health worldwide. The combination of a warming planet and outdoor air pollution from fossil fuels has substantially negative health consequences for humans, especially in urban areas. Much research has been done regarding the impact of outdoor air pollution on non-communicable diseases. Hence, your thesis focused on these effects on respiratory infections using the urban heat and air pollution framework. Your successful thesis called Mapping the Evidence of Climate Change on Human Health, the Effect of Urban Outdoor Air Pollution on Respiratory Infections, a scoping review, was excellent. Despite health challenges, you finished your studies in European public health very successfully. Congratulations and much success in your future endeavours.
Doreen? Doreen? Lea. Alete. Joey. Lara. Clara. Michelle. Next will be the group of Paul Lemmens, and he will address Beatriz Coelho Gonzalez Gracio Lopez.
And so on, and so on. What's in the name? Beatriz is the only student present here, but there were 4 of us together, or 5 of us together. So not surprisingly, Beatriz has chosen to dive further into the Portuguese drug policy. You all know me, a policy which has been reformed just after the start of the millennium. And it's early in the bachelor, I was a thesis tutor too in the alcohol and drug module. And I guess her interest dates back from that time. It seemed a good idea to evaluate the implementation of the Portuguese policy. So that is the main thrust of her thesis. And she made a selection of the topics from that policy. Of course, you can't cover it all. And she made a comparison with the UK. The UK being an early adopter, Portugal being a late adopter of innovations in drug policy. And it was a good setup, a good topic. She chose to look into OST, which is opioid substitution treatment or therapy, and which is adopted now across the board in Europe, but still you have early adopters and late adopters. And she elegantly used models, health psychology models, to look at that area and to analyze the research. To cut things short, looking at the great boss, she did a great job, and perhaps a bit reluctant and insecure in the beginning, but she became an active student doing the supervision supervision sessions, not reluctant at all, making good use of our suggestions. She managed, by the way, to travel between Maastricht, Brussels, and Portugal, and we never knew where she was, you know, where she would pop up during our online meetings. Beatrice, and I address Beatrice, where are you? Oh, there you are. Sorry. It's like a funeral. You talk about the person, you know. No, but now there should be some laughs, you know. They laugh at me. It doesn't matter. I hope you're now happy in Amsterdam, in your Amsterdam master. For us, it's good to know that you think Amsterdam offers a less international student environment in comparison to Maastricht, and that is what you say you miss a lot. So that's a good news for us. I'd say, Beatrice, best of good luck and success in getting the desired internship that you strive for. Second.
Now we have the group from Sebastian Rode, and Rock Herchich will address Jessica Paul.
Hey Jessica, Sebastian sends his regards and sent me also a speech addressing both you and telling everyone what you've done. So Jessica has written her thesis on credibility of digital health information to patients and citizens in the European Union, a case for more regulation. In her thesis, Jessica has laid out the currently disintegrated situation for digital health information for patients in the European Union. In an area where items such as trustworthiness and reliability of information and a time of a pandemic, the need for trustworthy information is crucial. The value of this thesis was therefore very timely. The research, results, and outlook of the thesis have all been excellent. Jessica has been able to deliver a picture of disintegrated situation, both at the European and national level, and has given clear indication of how current instruments could be used to develop a future regulatory regime that could have a considerable impact for patients in Europe. Jessica, Sebastian congratulates you on your outstanding work and a very well-deserved graduation. Congratulations also to you.
Now we come to the group from Valia Kalaitzi, and she will address Chiara Carrera Pereira.
Well, here we are, Chiara. It is my honor today to address the graduation speech for Chiara, this incredible student. She worked on homelessness, a rather overlooked but very, very important topic, and she did exquisite work. Well done again, Chiara. I'm so proud that you have achieved this great milestone. Wishing you great success with your dreams and career. And I also wish you, Chiara, Godspeed to your journey to Ithaca. I pray that the road is long, full of knowledge, full of adventure and success. Congratulations and well done, Chiara.
Congratulations, Chiara. before we close, we of course do not want to forget to mention the students that graduated, but who unfortunately cannot be present in person today. So we would like to read their names and give them a big shout out at the end so that they're part of the celebration as well. So we have Shiva Asafu Ajay, Giti Baha, Masa Bechapur, Hanne Bonnekessen, Greta Brinkmann, Celine Denis, Lara Freisel, Mara Giuliani. Constanza Heimans, Loic Hofmann, Anna Keller, Marianne Kiem, Julian Kranz, Kathy Lamb, Silvia Lemus, Pietro Martinelli. Mikkel Martinsson, Lili Sandor, Julia Schneikers, Michelle Standler, Nova Taminka, Jenny Tranjok An, Lucia Valci, Selina Vincon and Dominika Vodgila.
So, come to the end of the session, in which our 65 candidates present here received their bachelor diplomas. Before we go outside and have our well-deserved celebration and reception, I would like to have or mention 2 more points. That is, although we check the information with great care, there can always be errors. So please double check if your name is correct, if your grades are correct, and if there's any mistake in your certificate, then please contact the exam committee. In about 3 weeks, a link to the pictures that were taken today will be sent to you to your email account by the alumni office. And with that, I would like to say that it was a great honor and a great pleasure for me to be one of the first people here to congratulate you. And I wish you all the success wherever you're going from here, wherever life takes you, and also a great deal of happiness. So from this place, I also like to congratulate, of course, the parents, grandparents, family, everybody who cares about you and is present here. You can be very, very proud of our new bachelors. I want to have all the theses. I heard such great thesis topics, really fantastic work. So now it's time to celebrate your great achievement, and I hope you have a great day and make the best of it. And I'll invite you all out here in the Drielandenpunt for a reception. And with that, like I opened it officially with the gavel, I'm going to close it officially with the gavel.